Hello, and welcome to Talk to Downtown. My name is Courtney Wood. I'm the Economic Development Director for the Downtown Stockton Alliance, which is a 501c6 nonprofit property-based business improvement district serving downtown Stockton. This webinar series is intended to connect our business owners, residents, property owners, and visitors with the organizations, people, and resources who can help them address issues which are of top concern to them. Today, we have special guest Susan Christy. She's here with us from the City of Stockton Public Works Department, and she is coming from the Parks Division. So she's a project manager there. We're going to learn all about our local parks. So we'll begin by having Susan share a little bit about herself and her role at the Parks Division at City of Stockton Public Works. Then I will go ahead and ask the list of questions I've outlined for her. And at the end, we'll open it up to you, the viewers, to go ahead and ask your questions. And with that, welcome, Sue. Thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to learn all about the city's parks. And tell us about yourself and your role.
Well, I'm a project manager here at Public Works. I have been in parks and recreation of a sort ever since I've been at the city. I've been here for about 23 years. I started in marketing at Parks and Recreation, something that a lot of people don't know yet still is that Parks and Recreation was dissolved several years ago, about 12 years ago, and the parks maintenance section of Parks and Rec went to Public Works. The recreation division stayed with the libraries and became the community services department. So we are parks for all intents and purposes, but really all we do is maintain the parks pretty much. Any kind of programming in the parks is going to come from the recreation division near the community centers and such like that. I'm a project manager, which means that I manage projects. I buy equipment, I do everything, we handle everything from the inception of a project to the end. We want to put a playground in here, we choose the playground, we buy the playground, we wait for it to be produced, and we oversee the installation and the certification of it. And that's, a standard project. There are 7 of us that run all of our parks, 65 parks that handle, there are only 7 of us that handle the maintenance. So obviously we do contract it out. We have 3 people in the office currently, and we have 4 people out in the field to troubleshoot and respond to things and make sure that our contractor is doing their job. So I've been here, I have a degree in marketing, but I've always had an interest in parks and trees. So I came on over here to Public Works about a dozen years ago. And, we don't only affect downtown, we affect the whole community, but we're happy to have, we have a few parks downtown and in the immediate area. We have certainly a bunch more on the fringes of out of town, and we have a bunch throughout the community.
So. Amazing. Yes. Okay. So you've been, working with the city for quite a while. You've got a lot of experience, and you're excited about parks.
I am. Parks maintenance, tree planting, park beautification. Those are my activities primarily.
Perfect. All right. So thank you. You gave us a nice overview also of what you do, which is mostly the park maintenance, kind of managing that side of things. And in your opinion, why are public parks such an important part of our community and building community?
They are our community. They provide recreational opportunities. A park in your neighborhood will increase your property values. A park near your business will increase business. It's a spur for the local economies. People that are in parks, whether they're recreating or whether they're volunteering, that takes down crime, and it's been proven to reduce crime. And the parks also offer a lot for the environment, to make our cities more resilient with all the concrete we have in our cities, the roadways, the concrete we put up in our backyards. The rain doesn't go into that. So it runs off, creates problems in larger areas. Parks, are a sink for that. Not only can some of the water run into the parks as excess water, but it gets filtered through the ground and stuff and becomes healthier. So, the trees in the park help clean the air. The health benefits are just, they're everywhere, from exercising to the way that the parks kind of clean our environment.
Amazing. So many reasons, property values, environmental reasons, just kind of health, getting out there, activity. Okay. And in your role, what is the most common question that you're asked about our parks? And how
I'm
do you
kind of the catch-all question answerer here at Parks. You know, if anybody has a question about parks, they tend to ring me. We get a lot of questions and concerns about vandalism. We get a lot of questions and concerns about the homeless people in our parks. It's hard for us to kind of wrap our heads around it sometimes, that the parks are open to everybody all day long. You know, so if there's homeless in the parks during the day, I can't do anything about it. Nobody can do much about it. They're allowed to be in the park. We're just like I am and you are. So we get a lot of frustration about that. And we get a lot of frustration about vandalism and things that need repair. Pretty much 90% of what goes wrong in the parks is caused by our park, by vandals. You know, things don't break out there on their own, unfortunately. So we deal with a lot of that, just a lot of people that are either frustrated that they can't gain access to something, or a lot of people that are just angry, you know, and so homelessness is kind of a challenge for all of us. And but we, you know, I think citywide, I don't know what the citywide policy is exactly, but I mean, we don't kick people, we don't have the authority as park maintenance people. We have no authority to kick anybody out of a park to begin with. So there was a court decision a couple of years ago that in a superior court that said that, you know, homeless are people too, and they deserve a place to sleep and be, you know, so technically cities have been told to back off from removing people from the sidewalks, sleeping on sidewalks, from residing in parks and things like that, unless there are so many empty homeless shelter beds that, you know, it would be ridiculous for somebody to be outside. And I don't think that's where we are yet. So we do have a lot of homeless in our parks. But I can say that, you know, it's unsightly. It can look very messy. Largely people stay to themselves. I mean, and they are just people. We have to try to remember that they are just people that just want to survive, just like we all do. So I get a lot of calls about that. It's really frustrating. It would be frustrating for me if I lived across the street from a park and there were people living in it 24/7. So that's a big issue. Okay.
Yeah, understandably so. So you're sharing, you know, during the day, it's a public space, you know, anyone can be there. Is there any difference at night after hours?
Technically, okay, the parks technically are open from an hour before sunrise till an hour after sunset. You will see, however, because we've always had those park hours. There was always an exception for lighted sports areas, like a lighted baseball field or a lighted tennis court. Those would be open until 10. So somewhere in between, there was a grand jury that said, oh, no, you need to keep your parks up until 10 p.m. So they're noted till 10 p.m.
Oh, wow.
Technically, if they're dark, you shouldn't be there. You know, you shouldn't be there. You could be playing tennis or something if there's lights till 10 o'clock. But really, in the dark parts of the park, that's why they're dark. Or, you know, after sunset, they shouldn't really be hanging out there.
Okay. So if that's the case, does that help anyone maybe who they are seeing people there after hours?
Yes, you do see people in the park after hours. Absolutely. If they're there past, it's a little bit hard to wait up until 10 p.m. sometimes, but you know, if they're there past 10 p.m., they're trespassing, and that can be called into the police non-emergency at 209-937-8377. I believe I got that correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, so don't call in and tell me there are homeless people in your park at noon, but do call PD if there are homeless people in the park at midnight. May or may not be able to do something about it, but at least that documents the fact that they're there, and the police do respond to multiple complaints, you know, as the data, they respond to data a lot too. So it helps to identify where the issues are and where it's being a problem.
Records, yes. Okay, that's actually really helpful and good information, I feel, for many people out there. So thank you for sharing that. If people on the other side of it, if they do notice like a maintenance issue, how can they, reach out to you guys to let you know?
Well, we can be reached 24/7. We have an admin up front during the day at 209-937-8341. And once those people leave in the afternoon, that gets rolled over to FireCom. So that's 24/7. If you have a problem in a park, you can call and report it there. Even better for you, though, is the Ask Stockton app on your phone. You can download that on any kind of phone, pretty much, that you can download an app on. And that geolocates right to your location. If you're in a park, you see, there's a hole in the sidewalk or, something like that, you can just take a picture right there, put it in, and just hit send. And it tells us where it is and what it is. However, I must add that if you see something like running water or running sprinklers or something that should be taken care of right away, please call in and don't wait for us to see Ask Stockton on Monday morning, because we don't monitor that all 24/7. But the good thing about Ask Stockton is it does roll right straight into a work order. Like if the drinking fountain's broken, it goes straight to a work order. It goes straight to the right division. So you don't have to remember till Monday that that's broken and call in on Monday, and you don't have to worry about who to call. It goes to the people it belongs to, or it goes to somebody else that knows who to give it to.
Yeah.
Ask Stockton is the most responsive way to get in a maintenance request, probably.
And it's a great tool. I love it for like almost everything city related. So
it can be used for just about anything. Potholes, park stuff, trees, and just about anything.
Broken sign.
Yep.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much again. And now, can you share a little bit with us about just what can you share about the state of Stockton's parks overall?
Well, they're good. They're getting better. A lot of our parks are older. They haven't been looking really great for a number of years. But the last couple of years have been absolutely phenomenal. Council has given some discretionary funds to park projects for the first time in many, many years. They've done it 2 years in a row, I think now. And with some of the federal money that's been coming in through COVID and through grants that we've applied for, we've just been pouring a lot of money into parks, and it's starting to show. We've gotten all of our game courts resurfaced. We've gotten lights repaired in a couple of places. We still have a lot of lights to repair at different game spaces, and we still have a lot of things to fix up, but we're making some great progress just with the game courts alone. And we also started installing the Exelu contactless restrooms a couple of years ago. Yes. And we're going to be putting in more of those because those have been pretty good, a pretty good solution to having a restroom that everybody can use. Some of the older restrooms were getting a little smelly, and they had doors that people could lock themselves into at night. And you can't blame a person. If I'm homeless, I would probably want to lock myself into a bathroom if I could, because probably to feel safer. But these new bathrooms, we can close them at night. They're automatic. They only open for a certain time period. They wash themselves down. So they're an overall great fit for Stockton in our parks. We have 65 parks, I think, around 60. It varies between 65 and 67. I think if we count the Forest City Park, we might be at 66. But we'll let you guys count that one. We have about 1,200 acres of parks in Stockton. And last year we came in 84th. Not great, but not terrible. I mean, could have been worse. We came in 84th in the country as in the 100 large cities. Trust for Public Land puts out a park score every year for the nation's top 100 cities or largest 100 cities. And we became that recently in the last 5 years or so. So we're included in a national report that will be published in May. I can't give you any information about our report for this next year, but it's good. so we're excited about that. Let's see. Another way that people can voice their concerns I think we're getting to that in a little while, but we do have an advisory commission. It's the one thing that's still called Parks and Recreation. I haven't changed that. If people want to voice their concerns, their compliments, any ideas that they have for city parks, they can attend the Parks and Rec Commission on the fourth Monday of the month. It's in City Hall Chambers, fourth Monday of the month at 5:30 p.m. So
Awesome. I didn't know about that. Very cool that there's still a committee going on for that. And can you share about the bathrooms, the new bathrooms that you were talking about? Like which parks have them? Yeah.
We have only 4 right now. We have 4. They're called Exaloos is the brand. They're from New Zealand. We discovered them at a Parks and Rec Commission or conference about 5 years ago and thought, those might work here. And fortunately, we have been able to try them. We have them at Oak Park, Fremont Park, Victory Park, and Stribley Park right now. And we are fixing to get 4 more this year, and I believe 4 or 5 more the following year. So we are going to put a second bathroom at Victory Park because of the restroom burning down over in the Little League area.
Oh,
and we
no.
need to replace it. So they're getting another one. We're going to put one at Legion by the new playground at Legion Park. And let's see if I can remember the other sites. I can't remember the other 2 off the top of my head right now. That'll probably pop up later.
Okay, awesome. That's great that the test program went well.
And if you don't know about the bathrooms, I can explain real quickly.
Sure,
They're automatic. The doors slide open when you wave your hand or push the button. Then you push a button or wave your hand to close the door. Once the door is closed, it gives you 10 minutes. It gives you music. It gives you reminders that you have 10 minutes and the door is gonna open. And then it's, you don't have to push anything to flush it. You just wash your hands, and once the water goes on or the door opens, it'll flush. So and they have soap, which is something we couldn't keep in a regular bathroom. So they clean themselves after about 25 uses. They will wash themselves down. So it's kind of a good thing that everybody can use.
That is amazing. I love that. It's very exciting. It's modern coming to Stockton.
And it's working out pretty good in most places.
Very cool. All right. So thank you for sharing a little bit more about the parks that we have now. And is there anything maybe that you think people would be surprised to know about Stockton's parks, or anything that is a hidden gem that they don't know about?
Well, the hidden gem probably is Pixie Woods out at Lewis Park. I mean, we have a lot of little things. I feel like Victory Park is a little overused. Everybody wants to go there, and it's super cool because it's got the the sidewalk all around it. I'm happy to say that we got a grant to put a pathway in at Oak Park. So we are going to have a pathway that goes along Alpine and up on Sutter and Alvarado. And we hope that's going to be a really good walking opportunity for people. The Greater Valley Conservation Corps is going to be building that for us shortly. Pixie Woods, we've been fixing it up for the season. It opens May 7th. That is a facility that's operated by the Recreation Division, but it's jointly operated. It's operated by the Recreation Division, but it has an advisory board that's been there since they started the park. The board actually built the park or got the land and started the fundraising for it. And they've been active with the park for 60 years, I bet, or almost 60 years. And there have been people that stayed on that board until they died. It's just a super special place. It's like it's a children's fairyland, and it's similar to Fairytale Town or Fairyland in Oakland. So some people don't know about it, and it's got limited hours on the weekends for a while, and then it'll be open during the summer. But that opens May 7th. We've been spending a lot of time out there with volunteers, getting it prettied up and putting flowers and stuff like that out. And it's been fun.
Amazing. I agree, totally agree that Pixie Woods is a really awesome place. If anyone has kids and they haven't been there, I do suggest checking it out. It's really, really, really cool for children. Okay, thank you. Now let's talk about some opportunities that you see coming your way in the Parks Department, and maybe some challenges you're facing when it comes to Stockton's parks.
Well, we've been very fortunate. Like I said, we've had a lot of opportunity with the COVID funding and with grants and discretionary funds. We have 2 grant projects that are going on right now through our capital improvements or capital projects division. And that is a couple of years ago, we got a grant for McKinley Park to be renovated. And that is planning is underway. They're doing the construction documents now, and that will be under construction probably at the end of this year. And closer to downtown, we did get a grant this year for the renovation of Columbus Park, where we will be putting in a playground, a basketball courts, a little community garden, one of the Exelu bathrooms. So that'll brighten up that corner of just south of downtown and help the neighbors there. Challenges again are still vandalism and homelessness. It's not all the homeless. Some of it seems like it's kids, but it's the homeless. It's just hard to quantify. It's just, like we just planted some trees on March Lane and somebody just went by and broke them and tore off the limbs. And, you're just like, why, and that kind of stuff happens. We have been working with partners, Puentes and Little Manila. We've been planting a lot of trees in our parks. Part of it, the part that's happening now with Little Manila is through our transformational climate community grant. And we will be planting a ton more trees in South Stockton over the next year. But they've been planting Puentes has been planting trees throughout our park system. And, they just need, they just need to be left alone. That's what,
let them grow.
That's our biggest challenge, is to be able to put something out there and to have it either not bow to the pressure of vandalism and use, or, or have people that keep an eye on things so that we know what's happening. We have a lot of parks, 1,200 acres. We can't watch it all at the same time. So that's our challenge, really, is to try to keep things out there that can't be ruined for the other people, because we have a lot of mentally ill people on the streets, and some of the stuff they do to playgrounds is just unbelievable. How could anybody do that? They just, and you just have to figure that they just don't know any better, and so that's a lot we have to deal with, the people that either don't know any better or people that just are angry and they want to ruin things, and they don't care who they're ruining it for. It's really sad when they're ruining it for the children. We've had several playgrounds, one at Weber Point a few years ago, one downtown and one at Constitution Park, which is sort of downtown. They've been burned. We've had a few burned. We've had our playground burned twice at American Legion Park. So we've had to move the playground site to where it can be more visible 24/7 to the neighbors and to people that go by, so that we hope that doesn't get burned again. And, that's our biggest challenge, is just abuse, I think. I mean, we try our best. We can't always be out there.
Definitely. So if you're watching, do your best to preserve the parks. If you see someone vandalizing something, say something.
Yeah. And if it's something that, sometimes it's something that we can fix. They go, oh, they keep breaking this because they can't get into here. Okay, well, we can fix that somehow or something like that. But sometimes we can't, but we also can't see it all at once. So we do get a lot of people that call in to tell us about it. And we appreciate that, because we can't, we're at each park several times a week, but we're not there all day. So
makes sense. Okay. So now that you've talked about some, opportunities, good things happening, some challenges that you're still facing, ongoing challenges, what role do you guys play in conversations about park improvements or, new projects and changes that need to come to some of Stockton's parks, or maybe new parks? And how do you get that process going? What role do you play in that?
Well, the new parks kind of come to us. They come through new development. And I can talk to the fact that because there's a few developments waiting for parks right now. So when a neighborhood is developed by a developer, that developer gets to make a choice whether they want to have an HOA and set up an HOA there, or if they want to be a landscape maintenance assessment district, because starting back in the 80s, the city decided we're not going to build any more parks unless we have the money to maintain them. So in order to maintain them, you have to have an HOA or a landscape maintenance assessment district, which this one assesses you for money, and the HOA, you pay dues. So it's kind of the same money to the resident, but in the landscape maintenance assessment district, we manage the funding. So we have several, we went from like 4 assessment districts when that started to like 36 we have now for different maintenance that we do throughout town. And some of it's for parks, some of it's for landscaping and walls through a development. And that doesn't pay for the new parks, though. The new parks get paid for by the public facility fees and stuff. So like we have a couple parks that are waiting right now to be developed. And one of the areas took a really long time for them to build it all out. So now that it's all built out, everybody's like, well, where's our park? And well, we don't have it yet because it took forever for that development to go happen because of the recession and everything else. And so we haven't been working on that park. We've been working on this other park, and there's only so many parks we can do at a time. So we're actually looking at about 5 new parks over the next in the 15, 20 years, maybe. I don't know how long it takes. It takes quite some time from like for a park renovation, from the grant process to the finished product. It's about 5 years. Things take a long time. We're bureaucrats for whatever, we have so many rules to follow, and they're good rules. They're so that we make sure that we take care of your tax money. We don't squander it anywhere. We don't do anything that's inappropriate with it. So it just takes a long time because you have to go through certain bidding processes, and then you have to get somebody to design the park, and then you have to have somebody make the construction documents based on that design, and then you have to actually construct it. So then you have to let it sit for a while and let the grass grow before you can open it up. So it's a really long process. And some of our other processes are long too. We do a lot of wall repairs. Don't really have many in downtown, but in other neighborhoods, that'll be something that we can fix under the maintenance assessment. And in some areas, particularly Weston Ranch, people drive a little sloppy and run into the walls a lot. That's one of the things we do a lot of, fixing walls and things. But for processes and thinking of new ideas, that's open to everybody. I mean, if you have a great idea for a Stockton park, write in, send it into Ask Stockton, send a letter to our Public Works Director, Jody Almasi, give me a call. We're open to ideas. We come up with our own, like we came up with the Exalu, we knew we had a problem with the bathroom. We knew kind of what products were out there. We found this new product where you can't hold the door open for your friends at the end of the day and have a party in our bathroom while it's closed, stuff like that, and it's important, it sounds like we worry a great deal about vandalism, but that's certainly more pressure on the parks than the average user, so that. And so to get things approved and changes made, it's a very lengthy process. It's a very lengthy process, but it happens, like the people that wanted Victory Park pool, they came to Parks and Rec Commission and made it very clear that they wanted a pool back. They didn't want to, and then the consultant came back and said, no, we want a spray pad there, not a pool. And the people came back and said, we want a pool. They kept coming back, and now they're going to get a pool. It's still years away, as it is, but because they just got the money, so they've got to go out to bid, and then they have to, do the whole thing, design the pool and then construct it. So it's several years away, but it's going to happen. And it's thanks to those people that showed up and, voiced their concerns at the Parks and Rec Commission. So there's several avenues, and all just communication. It's all just communication and a lot of patience, because when your playground gets broken, there are not parts generally for slides on the shelf. You actually have to contact the distributor and have them make a new piece for your thing, and it takes a while. It can take 4 months or something, and it's hard because that's a really unsafe condition for the playground. We try to block it off. The kids want to play with it anyways. Moms get mad at us, but that's part of our process. And we have anything from, we just need to get something done. Our parks manager says, okay, go do it. Or sometimes we have to take the whole package up to city council. So it just depends on how much it costs, what it is, and there's often a lot of little things that we can do for people, when they call in. We can replace trash cans, if we have the money, and lately we've had the money. So it's just a matter of us having the time to get the work done, kind of.
Okay. So yeah, it sounds then like people can bring you their ideas. Is it more effective if they bring like a group of themselves, a community, rather than just one person?
It can be. I mean, that certainly makes more of a difference at Parks and Rec Commission when there's a group of people, just like it would at City Council or something. But the thing I would say is, by the time people come in groups, they're usually mad about something. So I say, just ask something, get your answer, see what it is. A lot of people just assume they're not going to get something and they come in mad, or something like that. And that's really not necessary. I mean, sometimes we get mad, I understand when people are mad at the city, because we get mad at the city sometimes too. But, it's just a matter of communicating, really. And it can be just as effective with one person or a group. Usually when I see a group, I think they're mad.
Gotcha. Okay. Little intimidating. Gotcha. Okay. But that's great. That's great to know that at least people do have a way they can say, hey, we really would love a dog park here. This would be a great location for this. And they can just at least communicate that to you guys, and you guys can start thinking about it.
We can't always help. We cannot always help. There are places that we have set aside for future parks where we may never put a future park. Most people don't want it. Some people don't want it anyways because it's a bad location. Some people will want it. We're not going to be able to say yes to everything, but we're certainly open to it. And if somebody asks for a dog park, and we can't put it right there, at least if there's, a lot of people asking for another dog park, we know that there's a need, for another dog park possibly. So if you don't tell us, we may not know.
Of course. Okay. Awesome. So, and my last question before we go more specifically to downtown is, are there any volunteer opportunities for the public?
All of the time. Yes, absolutely. We have always had an Adopt a Park program that you can call in or email in about. I coordinate that at the current time. So you can call or email me. If you're interested, we take groups, we take church groups, we take teenagers looking for, their extracurricular community services hours, stuff like that. I mean, our next big volunteer event is going to be May 14th at Stribley Park. That's going to be our next beautification project, and that will be advertised soon on social media, I think. We're doing some of our projects as part of the Clean City Initiative, and then otherwise, if somebody calls me up and says, hey, I got a group of Girl Scouts and we're looking to do something for the community, I will find something for them to do in a park. So
awesome.
And if anybody says, hey, if you have volunteers, this could be really nice if you would do this in our park, I'm open to that too.
Amazing. Okay, thank you. So let's go into downtown now. So can you share with us a little bit about downtown parks? How many do we have, and what kind of amenities do the downtown parks have?
Well, let's see, we'll go through them. We have about 7 in the immediate area, depending on which you call. There's 3 or 4 others that are just peripheral, I guess. Like Columbus and Constitution. You have Eden Park has a playground. The bathroom has been closed. Fremont Park has adult exercise equipment that is very well used early evenings, and it has a new Exelu bathroom. Let's see, Gleason's a little bit far south. Hunter Square is gone because of the courthouse, but then you took our little square and made that beautiful little diversity plaza there. Independence Park is kind of empty over at Market and Grant. It's a park that begs for some improvements one of these days. We have King Plaza, which is King Plaza, the fountain, we don't expect to ever have that fountain back in the middle, I don't think. But we have been working with different groups to find something to place there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, we had worked with the spire originally. The spire that went into the roundabout was going to go into King Plaza, but that didn't work. It's beautiful on Hunter Street. So we have Liberty's a little far south. We have McLeod Lake. A lot of people don't realize that that has a little amphitheater down there that we used to actually use during some events. I think there's power down there maybe. And there's a little, amphitheater. We used to have more statues, but those have been vandalized. Morelli Park, we have the boat ramp down there, and there's a little bit of picnicking at that area. And then we have mostly Weber Point in the north and south seawall, which kind of encircle everything downtown a little bit. Weber Point is getting spiffed up right now for the Flavor Fest coming up on May 14th. It's actually going to open with the Cinco de Mayo event on May 1st. So that'll be open. And then after Memorial Day, when the pool's open, and from Memorial Day to at least Labor Day, when the pools close, or maybe further, depending on what the powers that be decide to do this year, we will have the fountain available at Weber Point on days that it is not rented or closed for installing a new event or something. We are going to close it down for putting, for them to bring in their stuff for events. We're kind of prioritizing events at Weber Point Event Center because it is an event center. So we've been fixing it up, and we will keep it at some slightly minimized hours, which means opening at 11. We'll probably run from 11 to 7 again this summer on the days that we don't have event rentals or load in. So that's exciting. I don't know. Yes. The Weber Point also has that nice playground with the concrete whale that the kids like. And let's see, we are getting ready next year to put playground equipment back in Weber Park, which is not downtown, but it's over by the ball field. So good things coming. Weber Park is just getting an amazing facelift. Although if people have or haven't been down there, we did take down this shade structure this year. It is gone, and it's not coming back until sometime later in the year, hopefully, because they have to, again, do the process. They have to design a new one. They have to come up with the construction documents and all that. So I think it is in the design phase right now. And I think they're going to try to get it back up late this year or sometime next year.
Oh, wow.
It was just at the end of its life cycle. It had been up there for like 25 years. So it needed to come down.
It was time for an update. Okay. Interesting. I didn't realize it would be down for so long, but I drove by it just recently and I saw the frame. This is just the frame for now.
Yeah, the frame is staying up and that's it. But they just had to do it. So big fix.
Makes sense. And so for these downtown parks, are most of them open 7 days a week?
Yes, everything's open every day except for Weber Point Event Center. I mean, everything's open. All of our parks are open from an hour before sunrise to an hour after sunset. So they all are. We don't have, Weber Point is the only facility that we have that's locked, and we will keep it closed for events and event load in and load out. So it's probably not going to be open on a lot of weekends, like come July or something. I don't know quite what the event load is for the summer yet. People are still starting to come in with their annual events and stuff. I know that we'll be doing 4th of July there. I don't know what we're doing yet, but we'll be having a big 4th of July there. And then I know that there are promoters that have come in for like the fall for events that they have every fall and stuff, but we don't have a real good schedule. But I guess we'll try to put the events in the closures probably somewhere out on the website or social media. I'm not sure how we'll do that this year, but we will have some information out there.
Perfect, to let everyone know, here's when it's open, or these particular weekends it might not be open. Okay.
Yeah, and then some of the events are free and they have the water on, and some of them charge admission and may not have the water on. So, some events they'll be able to use the fountain anyways, but it just depends on the promoter.
That would be cool to have an event with the fountain working as well.
Usually, if they don't have alcohol, they leave it on. It depends on what your event is geared for. Like the events with a lot of alcohol, they usually don't leave the fountain on.
Okay. And as far as the downtown park you just shared about, are there any events that you wish were utilized more, or you feel are underutilized, like people don't realize that they're even there?
Well, I think a lot of our parks with homeless in them are actually underutilized because people are uncomfortable. And to that, I say, try to use it anyways, because some, and I'm not a homeless expert or anything, but I know that park activation works. If you start using a park, set up your picnic there, do your thing. People that are doing bad things like drugs or vandalism, they tend not to want to be around your picnic, So the more you use a park, the better, really, for all of our parks. Like I said, I would like to probably see some of the people from Victory go to another park sometimes because it's so crowded. It doesn't seem like a park to me, after you have all these sales and stuff in there and pop-up shops and all that, it kind of takes away from the park atmosphere. But no, I mean, I couldn't believe how many people were exercising at Fremont Park after work. That one's really caught on. And so I'd say probably Eden Park is the one I'd like to see people use more. And they've just opened the apartments across the street and everything. So I think that'll activate a little bit. And someday we'll be able to get a good, maybe a good restroom there that can't be vandalized so that we can have one there. I mean, we just would be pleased for people to use any park,
Go out, use
Carly Plaza is so enjoyable. It's really kind of a fun place to hang out. And I see that people do sometimes. The bicyclists are coming down there every week, I guess. So, I say use them all. Awesome. Whichever one's your favorite.
Spend some time outside.
Yep, get out there and get into a park.
Sounds good. Okay, so you shared a bit about some of the upcoming projects at these parks. Are there any others that maybe were recently completed in downtown or are currently underway that you haven't shared yet?
Let me think. Well, we don't have any new playgrounds, I don't think, coming there. Most of our stuff that's going on downtown is just cleanup and painting and just refreshing what's there. Doing a lot of refreshing right now. So we're, it's always our goal to just keep things as safe and clean as possible. So, I know that we need that Weber Point is going to be looking really good, except for it won't have a shade structure. So, but I don't know of any other things that are directly related to a downtown park right now.
Okay. Yeah, I love how they're painting all the poles. That's been something I've just been dreaming to happen. Yeah, I'm really happy to see that around DeCarly and Weber.
Makes a big difference. It's so funny. You walk past a yellow pole and it's all dingy. And volunteers can paint those things so easy, and it just brings up the whole environment with it sometimes. Exactly. Because sometimes the grass is old and tired and it has a little bit of clover in it. There's not a lot we can do about that, right? But the other things like just brightening them up makes a big difference. So I spend a lot of time working with volunteers to do that.
It really does. It looks great. Okay, so I just have a couple more questions and then we're almost done. And you shared a bit about the upcoming Flavor Fest, the Cinco de Mayo event. Are there any other public events coming up at any of the downtown parks that you'd like to share about?
Let me take a look real quick here. I don't know if I have good information on all of them. I would just like to point out that if somebody does want to have an event at a park, they really should go through our special events
Mhm.
section, which belongs to community service. It's recreation. They have an office in City Hall. And yeah, they really should check with them. There's a lot of vending in the parks right now, and it's kind of okay. It just depends. I mean, really, if you have a business license, I can't really stop you from vending in a park. We are looking at reframing some of our park areas and to where people cannot vend in them because
Oh, wow.
it's kind of wrecking the parkiness of the place. Some of our parks are starting to turn into flea markets on the weekends, and we may come up with some recommendations on different areas of the park that are okay to sell in and different areas that are not, something like that. Nothing to prohibit, but people need to know that if they don't have a business license and they're out there selling, they need to get one because they'll be in trouble. I can't say you can't do it, but somebody can come out there. Somebody else can. Law enforcement can certainly check for a business permit and health certificate, and if you don't have one, you should. I'm trying to find my list of events here. I know we have Earth Day coming up in Victory Park on April 24th. There's an outreach breakfast for the homeless at Fremont Park in late April. But really, all I have for Weber Point so far is Flavor Fest, 4th of July, and Cinco de Mayo. I think that they're going to have Pedal for Peace there, but I don't know what the date is. And you guys probably may have a better calendar than I have from some of the promoters that are around. So as far as I know, the big ones are Flavor Fest, Cinco de Mayo, and 4th of July. But
Awesome.
we are doing Earth Day over at Victory too.
All right. Thank you. So head out for those events. They're coming up soon, and I am excited to see how the Flavor Fest goes. The first one. And I'm really interested to see what the turnout is. I hope a lot of people do join from Stockton and also outside of Stockton. That would be really interesting to see the impact of. Okay, so specifically for downtown parks, do you see any opportunities or developments that you would like to see that maybe they're not happening right now? They're not even in the works necessarily, but improvements that you would just really like to see in downtown?
Oh, if I had my dream, all of my dreams fulfilled, I would see probably more parks downtown, more playgrounds downtown, different types of parks downtown, possibly a dog park, possibly a skate park. I think that downtown could be really livened up by a specialty park like that, or something like a skate park or something like that. But that's just from a park's perspective, may not be the best use of the land for the money or something like that. But yeah, there's always ideas, there's not a lot of places to put new parks in Stockton. That's one of the challenges we have with our equity and accessibility. We have about 74% of our parks in Stockton wide you can walk to them within 10 minutes. And that's,
wow.
Every city's goal is to have 100%. We do not have 100%, but we're doing fairly well. But then if you look at the areas, then if you go on the Trust for Public Land website or see their park score, they'll show areas where you need to have a park. And if you look in some of those areas, you're like, well, where could we possibly put a park? So that's a challenge for the city to figure out someday. And some of that may apply to downtown. We are, but if anybody wants to host anything at any of the downtown parks, again, go through the special events process, please. That makes sure that you're okay with fire, with your tents, and you're okay with PD for street closures or, any kind of traffic interference, all that stuff. It's just easier that way. As far as opportunities are, like our priority again is to keep it safe and clean. We're really trying very hard to keep our parks safe and clean. And we have applied for a lot of grants over the years. But right now we have so many projects and so much so many, we already have grant projects that are underway. We have, federal money stuff that needs to be done and spent. So we are not applying for any new grants at this time. Probably the only grants we may apply for from parks this year is maybe for tree planting from CAL FIRE, because that's a specialty grant that's pretty easy. But yeah, I would love to see a dog park and a skate park downtown. That's just me. I think that would really activate things, but that's just one opinion.
Totally. I think we really need it, especially with new residents coming in. I hope maybe something like that could happen in the future. So maybe I'll write in a little request to be one of the people.
I know. I keep looking. We have I think there's a plan to put a parking lot across from the new city hall, and I keep like going, well, can't we put it underground and put a park over it? But that would be not really practical at this time. So just a park pipe dream.
Okay, well, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us all about Stockton's parks, downtown's parks, what we've got going on, some plans coming up, improvements that you guys are doing. Really interesting to hear about. And I look forward to seeing what happens in the next few years. And the last questions I have for you are, one, how can people get in touch with you if they have further questions?
They can call the Public Works line at 209-937-8341, or they can call me directly at 209-937-8372, or they can submit a parks request to Ask Stockton, or email me at susan.christy, CHRISTY, at stocktonca.gov.
Amazing. Thank you. Perfect. So those are a lot of ways for people to get in touch, to air your suggestions, your concerns that you might have about parks. And lastly, is there anything else that you think people should know about the work that you guys do or about Stockton's parks?
One thing that I found out when I first came to parks, this is about playgrounds. It's a little sensitive. When I first came to parks, we had a lady at one of our parks, I won't say what park, had an old swing set. It was old. It was wood, with pipes or something. But the lady fell off. The whole swing set broke. And I learned for the first time in my life that playground equipment is designed only for ages 5 to 12. And
oh, wow.
We adults on playground equipment an awful lot. And that's okay. I mean, I don't want to tell people not to have fun on the playground equipment, but just realize that it's for ages 5 to 12 and you could break it. So, and we just went through a playground safety course. So I'm just, kind of about this playgrounds right now. I could add that there are 2 of us here that are certified in playground safety. So we do take that very seriously. It's one of the most serious things that we do is to try to keep the playground safe, but they are just for the kids, not for the
as tempting as it is.
I know, because that's kind of a bummer. I hate to say it because I never knew that, but it becomes increasingly apparent sometimes when you look at the equipment when it breaks. So that's it.
All right. Well, thank you very much for giving us that last little tidbit and also for answering all my questions. And now let's go ahead and open it up to viewer questions. I see there are a couple. Let me look over here. Okay, so the first question is from some of our staff at the DSA.
Okay.
So they're asking, with several volunteers assisting with cleanup at Pixie Woods and local artists developing new artwork for the park, will there be more collaborative opportunities for artists to create more art at local parks with Public Works?
That's another volunteer well, and I know artists hate to hear volunteer, but if there are ever any artists that wish to volunteer, they are more than welcome to step forward and we can make arrangements. I mean, there's a process for putting up murals in parks and stuff like that. Usually we prefer for the Arts Commission to approve the artwork prior to it going up, but we have all kinds of buildings in parks and we have no problem putting a mural on most of them because we've had really good success with murals not being graffitied too much, and they certainly improve the environment. The issue then the issue comes down to, why can't you pay the artists for their work? And we just don't have a lot of discretionary money that we can put into that. We can buy paint and help with supplies, but it's largely on a volunteer basis. I know that some of the artists that are volunteering their time now out at Pixie Woods, they're also talking to the Pixie Woods board about doing some professional art that they get paid for, because they're professional artists. And I don't want to discount that. It's just that we don't have a lot of money that's at our discretion to hire artists in public works. But we can buy supplies, and we can certainly work with artists. People that need some exposure, perhaps, that would be willing to do some kind of project like that. So yes.
Okay, so there's a little opportunity if they're willing to maybe volunteer some of that.
Or we can talk about it, but we typically wouldn't have that funding. Okay. But there might be a grant or something. I don't want to say no.
Right, exactly. And I especially love, some of the murals that I have seen at the park. Some of them look really, really cool. I don't know if I'm thinking of the wrong park. I think it is Fremont Park, but there was a mural anyway on the bathroom.
There were some really nice paintings on the bathroom before it got burnt and had to be removed. Yeah.
So it does brighten up. It's very interesting. Okay, so any artists interested, just reach out to Sue. And another question is, this is from Willie Marquez. He's asking, I'm a community member and I'd like to be more involved. Is there some kind of community committee that I can join to be more involved?
Well, the Parks and Rec Commission does have occasional openings, that you would have to go on the city website, and there is an app. I believe there's a button you can apply to be a commissioner. I don't think there are any openings now, but I believe you can apply at any time. And then when there's an opening, they will review your application and let you know. Otherwise, it's just, volunteer work pretty much. And I tried, sometimes I try to communicate with the volunteers on park surveys or something else that comes up. We don't do a lot of park surveys ourselves. But like for PFF fees, when they were establishing PFF, they did some park surveys, and I tried to get those out to people that I know are interested. But we don't have an official volunteer committee or anything like that, other than the Parks and Rec Commission.
Okay, so it sounds like they can maybe apply for the commission if there's openings. They can attend the commission meeting, so those are open.
Yeah, for feedback, if they want people to listen to their feedback, we are always willing to listen to anybody's ideas.
Perfect. And it sounds like you can also volunteer, Lily. So there's a couple of options for you. Yep. This question is from Johnny Palacio. Next one. He says, I've noticed the new bathrooms at Fremont and Victory Parks and would like to know if there are plans to add any more to any of our other public parks. So you did mention that already a little bit earlier.
Yes.
The new cool restrooms. So can you remind us where they're coming to next?
They are coming to the west end of Victory Park, the west end of Legion Park, and we're putting one across from the ice arena at Oak Park, because that bathroom has been burned and closed for quite some time. So
awesome.
And I can't remember the other location off the top of my head. Find here at all. We're getting a four or five more next year. And
wow,
I have it written down right here, but I can't find it.
The expansion of that is going to be amazing. It's going to be such a difference, just for everyone, for just everyday citizens, for homeless individuals, because it's really needed, just a public bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, and I truly believe it's something that can be used by everybody, and that's the most important part. Is it kind of democratizes the bathroom use in parks or something?
Exactly.
I can't find my list here. I don't know where that fourth bathroom is going, even though I'm putting it in. Sorry.
No worries. Yeah, so don't worry, but I'm sure maybe in the future it will be listed on the city's website. So
Mhm.
thank you for
Yeah,
that.
there'll probably be another big press release and some videos and stuff when these ones are installed later this year.
Awesome. All right. Okay, so we've got just a couple more questions. This one's from Sophia Colon.
Mhm.
I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. So Sophia's says, first, great discussion. A suggestion that she has is an accessible playground equipment. Accessible playground equipment is needed. A great example is Aiden's Place in LA, a wonderful park with accessible swings and other equipment integrated in a large playground space. So that's just like a comment she's making. And then a question that she has is, how can families advocate for smaller parks in their neighborhood? For example, she's giving an example of Trescany Park in Santa Cruz, which has a small like enclosed play area. I guess for that, how can families maybe advocate for like a smaller park in their neighborhood?
Well, unfortunately, the playgrounds are usually planned for the development as the development is built. You know, the construction plans have space out the lots. The developer says, you know, the city tells the developer how much of it has to turn into parkland, and they set aside parkland. I know that there are times when the developers will have a little slice, like a little triangle at the end of a road or something like that, that they don't give to the homeowner and they just leave it landscaped. And we take care of some of those, but not as parks at this time. If they have some open space that is in their neighborhood, I mean, absolutely advocate for that. I don't know. Again, the biggest issue with that is that the city will not build a park that they do not have the funds to maintain. So they just won't. That's policy as far as I know. And so hopefully if you're in a maintenance assessment area already, maybe there's a piece of land there that could be utilized or something like that. But you know, it just comes with those strings attached. Is, you know, somebody could donate us a patch of land tomorrow and say, here, you can build a park on it. We still can't build a park because we can't just build it and not have any money to maintain it. So that's kind of our constant struggle, especially since the grants and the funding, they're never allowed for maintenance. That's the big thing.
Wow.
We can get grants all day to build parks, but they don't give you any extra money to maintain them. And then you're stuck forever with this thing that you don't quite have enough money to maintain.
Wow.
So, but as far as the accessible playground, Sophia, I will get a hold of you because I think I have your contact information. Otherwise, email me. We are putting in an accessible playground. It's not huge, and I would like to meet with some of the parents that need accessible playgrounds for their children, because we do plan to put one in next year at Sandman Park. And I have plans for it, suggested plans for it now, and I am going to be looking for some parents to run that by. So if you know any parents, send them my way that need accessible playgrounds. I'm going to also reach out, I think, to the mayor's task force on disabilities. I have not reached out yet, but I will be. So we're going to be taking a little bit of feedback on the design that we have and working on that. It's not a huge playground, and it will be, I mean, it'll be more, we have an accessible playground at Van Buskirk. People tell me that it doesn't work for them. Not sure why. So we need to have those discussions. So if anybody is listening or anybody knows anybody that is interested in accessible playgrounds, please reach out to me.
That's amazing. That's really cool to know. I'm glad that, thank you, Sophia, for your question. Yeah. Very, very interesting. I have a follow-up from what you're sharing about the neighborhood and maybe an open piece of land. Does the city ever, are they ever willing to, let's say an organization says, hey, we'll maintain this park for you, we'll do a contract with the city. Is that ever something that maybe you guys would consider for a smaller park? I'm just curious, you know?
If it was on a voluntary basis, sure. Sure. And we've had, you know, little places added to our landscape contract. And I know that we had one that some smaller company was maintaining for us because it didn't fit in our big contract at the time. But we're probably not going to pay somebody to do it, but if they want to do it, yeah, we would absolutely, if we felt that they could. You know, there's a lot of people that talk about, oh, we can take care of this park for you, but then they don't realize how much mowing it really is, and you know, all the things that have to be fixed there, the supplying of toilet paper and soap and whatever. You know, it's just a lot of people may think that it's simpler or there are less requirements than there really are. But if we have the confidence that somebody would do it, absolutely. We've had people adopt all kinds of things before, you know, not a whole park, but I'm actually working with a group that is interested in adopting a park. I don't think they're going to mow it, but they'll be taking care of a lot of stuff out there.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's amazing. Very cool.
Yeah.
At least cool to know that it's.
We try to, one of the things we try to do with volunteers too, I'll say, is that we try to do things that we do not pay for in our contract, our landscape contract for parks and landscaping through the streets. It's not fancy. It's not fancy. We can't make it very, very detailed because we couldn't afford all the detail work that you would want to put into a park. You just can't do that much handwork and stuff and still afford it. So we do a lot of the hand trimming on volunteer projects and painting and cleaning up stuff that just doesn't get cleaned up during the contract, you know, that we wish it would, but it can't. So we do a lot of that with volunteers.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you. I have one comment coming from Michael Huber. He says, hi, Susan. Thank you for always being willing to help us with our projects.
Absolutely. I'm here.
So, amazing. All right. Well, thank you, viewers, for typing in your questions. And if you have any further ones, you know how to get a hold of Susan. And thank you so much, Susan, for your time today, for answering all these community questions, answering my questions. I think we all learned a lot. So thank you so much. At this time, I just want to remind everyone, if you've seen this video live, then you found us on Facebook. We are also on YouTube, Downtown Stockton, and Instagram at Downtown Stockton, and Twitter at Downtown STKN. This video will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. And with that, I want to just say thank you again so much, Susan. Any last comments that you'd like to share?
No, just visit a park as soon as you can.
Amazing. So thank you, viewers. Thank you, Susan, and have a great day downtown.